right, we're back. Welcome, you guys. It's Donovan Sadiq, the recovering Democrat. It is Wednesday. I believe today is the 11th. The 11th of June. Wow, wait, tomorrow's my mom's birthday. Oh my goodness. 11th of June, 2025. Time is flying, you guys. We're already halfway through the year. This is insane. Anyway, you guys, welcome to the program. This is the unofficial Dimitra K show, and I'm saying it's unofficial because Dimitra is in the middle of the ocean with her family, spending time with her father. And so since she is not here, we are not falling for that feminist crap. We're not doing it. We're going to have strippers. We're going to have corn stars, all kinds of, debauchery in here because I get to run the show. So again, this is how the show should be run. This is how you get your ratings up. So like I said, she would not listen to me. She won't stand up and turn around and twerk and whatever else. We need the numbers up. Simple as that, right? No, but in all seriousness, you guys, welcome to the show. I'm Donovan Sadiq. I am the recovering Democrat. You can check Dimitra K and myself out on Sundays, 3 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 5 p.m. Central Time. And you guys also just got an update. The African Diaspora News Channel app is now on sale and is available. Annual subscription is the best way to go. I can't remember the percentage of it, but go to the African Diaspora News Channel, download it, subscribe to it on YouTube, and it right now is, they are running the sale. I think it's, according to Philip Scott, it's the last sale of the year. So if you missed it last time, this is your opportunity to get it this time. And speaking of the African Diaspora News Channel, you can also get the app on Apple Play and the Google Store, with the Apple Store, Google Play, however you're going to do it. A lot of great information out there. You get the Emancipation Channel, you get Dimitra K, you get Phil Scott, Vicky Dillard, and all the other producers that come onto the app, and they tell you what's going on around in the diaspora. And you also get videos that you don't get to see on YouTube. So very important. As a matter of fact, there's a new program they've started with. I don't know if it's new, but there's a program that they started. So they're starting to have programming on the app, and it's I think it's like a talk show with an African lady. I'm not a feminist, so I totally skip over that stuff. But yeah, African Diaspora News Channel app, it is expanding. I believe they're going to Ghana next year, so if you're interested in going to Ghana and you don't want to go by yourself, and let's say you've always wanted to go to the continent of Africa, but your friends' money ain't up right, your family members, nobody's got the money, when they need the money, because they're tricking it off or, paying off student debt loans and all that other great stuff, right? Right. So you can go with the African Diaspora News Channel crew. I believe there was 25 spots initially, and I believe there is now 13. So they are going very, very fast. Again, go to the African Diaspora News Channel app or the YouTube page, and you can sign up there. Don't have to pay it all up front. You can make payments. Like I said, you're a year out, so hopefully that'll work out for you. I've been to Africa, and let me tell you, it is monumental. You will come back a different person because we are the only people in the African diaspora that is the lost tribe. We don't know where we're from. Yeah, you could get genealogy and stuff, but it's not the same thing. We're rooted here. And we don't have the sense of community and knowledge base of culture, traditions. We're the only group in the United States where our traditions were stripped from us. Everybody else that comes here, and I laugh, they act like they've been through so much, but they have not been stripped of any of their culture. Even the native Indians, Native Americans that are here, they are still being compensated through the Indian Affairs Bureau, which is in the Department of the Interior. They buried it. And that bureau was based off of the Freedmen's Bureau that they got rid of in about 1880 something. That kind of helped black men, to get things and support, and then, they dogged us out like they usually do. So when I hear people talk about, oh, the Indians are the worst treated type, no, their language wasn't stripped from them. I mean, the white man tried to strip the language from them, but they held firm in their traditions, and that's why you still see Navajo, you still see Cheyenne, you still see the Alaskan tribes. Their culture and their names and their languages are intact. The only group in the United States where their language, religion, and their humanity was stripped from them is black Americans. So anyway, let's get into this, you guys, real quick, because I don't want to keep you guys too long. Let me be clear. I love what I'm seeing online. People are now opening their minds after they're getting over their disappointment in the recent elections. They are opening their minds like I did. I was a very closed-minded individual, and I didn't want to hear what somebody who was a Republican had to say to me in regards to politics. But then I started opening my mind and always saying, is it possible? And what really triggered me was when I served on jury duty. When I served on jury duty, it showed me I have to clear my mind and go into a neutral element where I can't think about this, I can't think about that, I just have to think about the facts. The facts. And it changed my life. The person that, and I've told you guys this story plenty of times, the person that was being accused of a crime probably was a gang member. He probably did do it. But on that particular day, that particular time, I don't know. I had doubt. Because there were 3 people in the room, and all the vast resources that the Attorney General had, he gathered up everybody in the neighborhood to testify what they heard coming from the room. And I heard testimonies of, I heard a tussle. Oh, I heard, screaming. I heard this, I heard that. We saw the pictures. There was injuries on him and there was injuries on her. It was a domestic dispute. So you get all these people in the neighborhood, oh, he's a gang member. They're all testifying to this guy's terrible character. And I agreed. He was a gang member. Tats up here, he looked the part. Right? Public defender, dressed him up, tried to hide the tats and stuff, but he was a gang member, probably, in my opinion. But you could bring all of those people from the neighborhood to testify to what is going on in this case, but you couldn't find the one person who could clear all of this up, throw everybody else out. The one person that can clear all of this up, district attorney couldn't find him. So the district attorney says. But you can find everybody else. And that right there opened my mind. Because think about it. Right now, this is a he say, she say case. I don't know who did what. I do know there was mutual combat. I do know that. But the one person whose testimony is the most important, the district attorney could not even produce. For some apparent reason. You can get everybody else. So I'm glad people are opening up their minds to critical thinking. When I was in college, I took a class in critical thinking. I'm a logical person. I don't go off of my emotions first. I go off my logic. So when I see a woman screaming, right? And most people, give or take, are logical. When they see a woman screaming, they just don't automatically jump to her defense. Your brain tries to process what's going on. She's screaming, what's happening? Is she being beaten down? Has somebody stolen her purse and ran? You gotta process it first. Now people have calmed down from the elections and they processed it. So, again, I I also want to say this. I've been reading up on Project 2025. And I've said this in previous videos. A lot of what is in Project 2025 has already occurred. You know, we still got boule out there that are still fear-mongering and doing all this stuff to black people to make them vote and, you know, and do a certain thing. But let me tell you guys something about Project 2025. If you've read it, there is nothing in Project 2025 that hasn't already been done to black people. That's what I got out of it when I read it. Mass incarceration happened under a Democratic president. A lot of stuff that is in the think tank of 2025 has already been implemented by the Democratic Party toward black people. Go look it up. I just want to say that straight out. So, if Donald Trump is doing another 2025, so what? So what? We've already been there, done that. The question is, what are you going to do about it? That's the question. So I want to say that. I also want to clarify for you guys, and I've been talking to a lot of my friends and family members. A lot of my family members think I've just gone completely crazy. My friends think I've gone completely crazy. Because again, I was that guy. I was Captain USA. I was that guy. Until I started opening my mind and started thinking rather than being emotional. And a lot of you guys are emotional. I want you to use your logic. I want you to use critical thinking. And I forgot that I had taken critical thinking class and how you're supposed to think at things. Take your emotion out of it. It is what it is. But I want you guys to understand this. As I'm talking to people, they're like, "Oh my God, he's doing this, and the country's being torn up, Donovan." You know, and kind of what's going on right now. People are rising up, and the Latinos are rising up, and it's mostly the Mexicans because we share a border. And I have to say Mexicans because we know there's other people. Africans have come here, Asians have come here, all kinds of people. Middle Easterners have come here, but I can only speak majority in California. We have a border with Mexico, so that is predominantly the people that I encounter here in California. California encounters mostly Mexican residents, right? Citizens of Mexico, right? So people say, well, everything's being torn up. We gotta help the system. We gotta help the system. No. Let it be clear, and I've said this several times. I am not for the status quo. Why am I not for the status quo? Because the status quo keeps black people at the bottom. Why, logically, would I support the status quo? I have nothing to lose by letting this shit get torn up. Don't care. I really don't care. Black people are the least likely right now to suffer under the tariffs or anything else that's happening economically in the United States. Why? Because we ain't got shit. I've said it before, 70% of the black population lives below the poverty line, at the poverty line, or just above it. There's a 30% of us that are whatever you call it. I don't know what you would call it because I don't believe there's a middle class anymore. Third of all black wealth was taken in 2008 under Barack Obama with the housing crisis. We've never recovered. The Democrats refuse to make laws that keep companies like Blackwater from buying all the properties and making our children and our grandchildren forever renters. So I am not for the status quo. Let me be clear. I am not for the status quo because it keeps my people at the bottom. It would be insanity for me to be for the status quo, or any black person to be for the status quo. You'd be a traitor to your race, according to Malcolm X. So let me be clear about that. So let's get into it real quick. I want you guys to think about this with what is going on. And I see people, and I love it. Don't get me wrong. I love it. This is what we are supposed to be doing, which is why the public servants, the representatives, people in Congress and the Senate, they hate the fact that we are communicating and exchanging ideas and what we think. I see people putting up the 14th Amendment, birthright citizenship. They're putting it up. Oh my gosh, yeah, they have a right to be here, whatever, right? Are you guys Anthony Scalia? Anthony Scalia's whole mantra was the literal interpretation of the Constitution. A lot of you guys don't understand how the 14th Amendment works and the birthright citizenship. Yes, it has been amended over the years to include everybody. But Donald Trump and those people that know are correct. It was implemented specifically for FBAs, fundamental Black Americans, descendant of slaves. And it was put in there so that the Democratic Party cannot revert Black people that were slaves back into slaves. It was a specific bill termed to them that happened after the Civil War in the Reconstruction era to ensure that these people that have been freed will not go back into servitude. And somewhere along the line after Reconstruction, the Democrats got in there. I believe there was an election with Jay Tilden. That's his middle name, Jay Tilden. I forgot his first name. And it was a disputed election. It was very close. And the Republicans were tired of the Ku Klux Klan and the guerrilla tactics that the Democrats were using to reestablish power in the South. And so when Tilden basically lost the election, there was a backdoor agreement where they said, you pull the troops out of the South, you let us do what we need to do, and we will give you the election. And that's paraphrasing basically what happened in that situation. And thus comes the Democrats, the Ku Klux Klan, and the black codes and Jim Crow and all of that has come up even to this very day. So when you guys put up the 14th Amendment, my question is, why don't you put up the other amendments to it? I put up a situation to where Bill Clinton, well, really a friend of mine from school, Stacy, she put up the fact that in 1996, Bill Clinton amended the Immigration Reform Act of 1996. Go look it up. Because the Democrats did not live up to their agreement with Ronald Reagan when he offered amnesty to immigrants in the 1980s. You guys got to look this stuff up. I mean, it's fascinating. It's fascinating stuff. So let's be clear. Donovan is not for the status quo. I have nothing to lose by letting it fall. And we have to put up the whole amendment to the Constitution to where it's at today. And the Constitution, as we know from civics class, is technically a living and breathing document. That's why it's constantly being evolved to make sense to where we're at today. We don't have slaves anymore, so it doesn't make sense to have a law that says blah, blah, blah. You know what I mean? So, things have to change. Women didn't have the right to vote in the Constitution, so you got to put an amendment in there to let that happen, right? Civil Rights Amendment, so on, so on, so on, so forth. So let's get to the meat and potatoes of what I'm talking about. Why is it, you have to ask yourself, that the Democrats are crashing out over this immigration policy. They're letting people in, but they don't have a policy to citizenship. Oh, let them in, let them in, let them in, let them in, let them in. But you don't have a plan. When I was an ops officer, it made no sense to hire pilots if you don't have airplanes. It makes no sense to have airplanes if you don't have mechanics and support. You got to have a plan. So the Democrats are fighting to let all of these people in here. Why aren't you guys asking, what is the plan? Well, I have an idea. And I was thinking about this. And it makes sense. Tell me if I'm wrong in the comments. Please tell me if I'm wrong, if you don't agree. The reason why the Democrats are allowing these people to crash these borders and have no plan about it is the census. It's the census. Why do I say that? The census has nothing to do with citizenship. The census only deals with individual people, and it's a count. And the more people you have in your area means more congressional seats, more congressional votes, more congressional federal dollars. Do you guys see? Do you guys see what's going on here? So as you people out there are crashing out, like I said, as a black person, it's not our fight. You guys do what you need to do. We did what we need to do. We don't want to join with you. Let the Latinos deal with their problems and let the blacks deal with our problems, like LULAC president said in 1963, I believe, or 62. Tiarina, whatever his name was. I'm not out here telling people, not to fight or do what they got to do, but there's consequences when you do that. I believe the reason why the Democrats are letting these people in with no plan whatsoever of a path to citizenship, because it makes no sense, is congressional power. The more people you have, according to a census, the more federal dollars are allocated to your area. The more people you have, the more representation you will have. It's about money in the power, money in the power. Big ups to Ghetto Boys. It's money in the power. They don't care about these people. They don't. If they cared about these people, and those of you guys that are hardcore Democrats, you got to be fair about this. Where is the plan? What is the plan for citizenship? Even until this very day, the Dreamers do not have a path to citizenship. Obama gave them protective Dreamer status back in early 2000s when he was president. They still do not have a path to citizenship. Why? Because as long as they are here, they are counted in the census. That's what this is about. Once again, elementary, my dear Watson. Elementary. What do you guys think? Do you guys think that that's the case? Am I on the right track? Possibly. I don't know. But I am so glad you guys are having conversations. And this is why Congress hates it. Because when you guys are critically thinking and we're exchanging ideas like this, just like what happened to me, I was Captain USA, and I said, is it possible? Is it possible that I'm being lied to? Is it possible that I'm on the wrong track here? Remember in the movie, what was it? Not The Phantom Menace. What was the movie after Phantom Menace? Revenge of the Clones. and Princess Padme had asked Anakin, did he ever wonder if he was on the wrong side, of the issue, which he was, and he didn't realize it? That's what I said. That's when I came to the revelation. I wondered, am I on the wrong side of this? What is the game plan? They don't tell you the game plan. Again, I was an operations officer. It makes no point in hiring pilots if you have no planes, and if you have no planes, you don't need any mechanics, and if you don't need any mechanics, you don't need a squadron. What's the point? What's the plan? The Dreamers don't have a pathway to citizenship yet. The Democrats have had almost 20 years to address their situation. But they're not going to address it as long as they've got the bodies, because the census counts bodies. Money and power. 22 million people were let in this country. And when the census kicks off, they're going to count those 22 million people wherever they're at. And that is what's going to allot congressional seats and federal dollars. Do you guys think I'm wrong? Let me know. All right? I want to keep this as short as possible. I want to share with you guys, this is a very short read. It's a book. I think you guys saw it on my page earlier. There you go. It's called Casualties of War. It's based on a true story. If you guys saw the movie with Sean Penn and Michael J. Fox, oh my God. Very good movie. Brian De Palma was the director. This was a short article, and I believe in the Washington Post or something. It was a little article. And it was if you guys saw the movie, you saw the movie. But it was based on an atrocity of a grape that happened to a Vietnamese girl, and they tried to cover it up. And one soldier basically blew the whistle on it. But in the aspect of this grape, he's with his recon unit, patrol unit, and they went and kidnapped this girl, and it's all kinds of stuff. Those of us that have been in combat, you guys know what we're talking about. Things happen out there that shouldn't happen. Remember Abu Ghraib and the jails, what they did there. Things happen. And it's really, really. This is really a good read. He kind of expanded it based on the movie, but his original article is in here, and his name is Daniel Lang, and it makes you wonder. If you watch the movie, John Leguizamo is in it, and he didn't want to grape the girl with the group, but you don't want to be an individual. In the military, you're trained to be part of a unit that moves as one. And he didn't want to do this thing because he would be ostracized or whatever, and he ended up watch the movie. The movie is pretty good. The movie's pretty good, but this is a great read. Daniel Lang. I'm looking for the original article in the Washington Post or wherever it was posted originally in 1967, 68. The War Department or the Defense Department tried very hard to cover these things up, these atrocities that were happening in Vietnam. And this one happened to have gotten out, and I'm very sure there's a lot more things that have happened. But if you guys are interested, check it out. It's a good read. But tell me what you guys think. Do you guys think I'm on to something there? So, again, Demetra K will be back. But in the meantime, I'm going to come on here a little bit later again, and we're going to have strippers on the Demetra K show. We're going to put the strippers on there. We're going to put the bong. We're going to have some, what do you call that? What's that, K-rap music or whatever that, drill music. Yeah, drill music, crap. All that good stuff. We're just going to have it there, and we're just going to enjoy ourselves to get her viewership and likes up. And I'm going to show her this is how we get our numbers up. We just get some chicks that'll take a couple of dollars, that'll make you holla, that kind of stuff like that. Demetra and I like to have fun when she's gone, because she gets horrified if I hijack her show. So anyway, I'm Donovan Sadiq, the recovering Democrat. You guys have just now been informed. Have a good day. Be blessed.